Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news as we discuss Frenkie de Jong backup plans, also what's going on the tour, why is John Murtough not on the tour, what's been said on the tour from Victor Lindelof about the captaincy, and where are Manchester United as they head into a game against Liverpool on Tuesday. But also we are exactly 4 weeks away, we are exactly 4 weeks away from Manchester United's first Premier League game. 4 weeks away. And what are you feeling about that? So look, let's get into it. We are a little bit early tonight. It's a 7 o'clock show because at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, I do Transfer Hub on Talk Sport, which is a national radio station. I've got Alex Crook actually on with me at the start of that show where we're going to be talking about the latest about Manchester United. But as a little bit of a prelude to that, we've had an update from Alex Crook which came out today saying that I know Manchester United have a backup list if the Frenkie de Jong transfer doesn't happen. Yuri Tillemans is on the list as I understand, and Ruben Neves of Wolves. So that's from Alex Crook. I will be talking to him at 8 o'clock. I'll give you the link a little bit later because hopefully you'll all tune in. I'll be going through the live comments on that, talking a lot about obviously United as well. But what does that make you feel about this whole Frenkie de Jong deal? Because I know a lot of you are very, some of you yesterday said 50% of you would walk away from this deal. He doesn't want to come. Ruben Neves has always been a backup. Tillemans, I don't know whether he is a backup. He clearly probably is a backup. I actually feel that we should be going for de Jong and one of these players as well. I don't like it that they're backup players, but I just would say again that I don't think that United can just go 4 weeks out from the start of the season, 2 months into the transfer window, negotiating with de Jong. Oh, well, that didn't work. Let's go and get Ruben Neves. My personal feeling is that would be sackable. As I said last night, that would be sackable for Murtough or whoever's involved in this because they have wasted the time on this deal and then not got it, and it's been made very, very public. Now, the latest on de Jong, and this is really good information, it's not from TalkSport or Alex Crook or anyone like that, this is what I found out. The latest of de Jong is that he is in control, which is amazing because probably for most of the last 2 months, it's felt like de Jong's powerless. I mean, at times I've said over the last 2 months, I actually feel sorry for Frenkie de Jong, that his dream club is Barcelona. He's being kicked out of his dream club to go to Manchester United. And whilst he likes Erik ten Hag and respects that Man United's a big club, and I'm sure we can make him happy again, ideally he wants to stay at Barcelona, but they want to sell him so they can build their new Barcelona side. And he's powerless. United are saying, come to us. Barcelona are saying, get out. And really, he just wants to stay in Barcelona and he's powerless. Actually, he's not. He's the power. He is the power playing this because Barcelona want to sell him, Man United want to buy him, but Frenkie de Jong is owed money by Barcelona, which suddenly gives him the power, where he's sort of saying to United, you just shut up. I've always said I don't really want to come to you, and Barcelona, you can shut up about selling me because you owe me money, and you owe me 15 million quid, or euros, or whatever it is. So you have got to try and pay me that before I make a decision, and you can't afford to pay me that, can you? So actually, I'm the one in the power here. All this talk of me going to United and you pocketing 60 million and all this chat you're having about how you're having your add-ons and the structure of the deal, sit down with your add-ons, sit down with your deal, because I'm in charge here. You owe me money and my wages are going up next year anyway from a contract I signed with you that you let me sign. So Frenkie de Jong is now suddenly the man in charge. And how it's going to pan out is really interesting. Now, we're starting to... we have to do demonstrations at the start of the season, Saeed. Now, we're starting to... And what's happening from Man United's side is that I think that United, for some reason, and I don't know why, have been blindsided by this. I think United always felt that de Jong wanted to come to United and that Barcelona had the power. And I think what they're now realising is that this deal is a mess, an absolute mess. And they may get to a point... I mean, they can't be in this situation in 2 weeks' time where de Jong is still not a Man United player and we're 2 weeks out and he's got no... Well, he's stuck with the midfield he had last year. So I think this is where the Ruben Neves and Tillemans stories are coming from. And you know what? I still remain 90% this deal will happen, and I find it funny what people think about that. But I'm not, as I say, it could just change like that. It could just change like that. And United may have to put a white flag up and go, we've absolutely bantered ourselves here. Let's go and do another deal with Ruben Neves or somebody else. But I must shout Robert McCormack out, actually. He messaged me earlier, and I'll give him a shout out. I don't know whether he's watching. He actually came up with an interesting thing that I wanted to I basically want to put it as a poll, actually. Who Who do you blame on De Jong? Deal. Not happening. Okay. Ten Hag or club? Get your vote in. And whilst you're voting, Robert McCormack said to me, he likes Ten Hag, but he actually puts a lot of blame onto Ten Hag because he knows Frenkie de Jong. United would not have gone for Frenkie de Jong if Erik Ten Hag hadn't told them to do it. So what Robert was saying is that, you know, Man United have spent a lot of time on this deal, and Ten Hag has obviously told them that he will come. He's had conversations with him. And if he doesn't want to come, then Ten Hag has to have some responsibility in how long this has taken. Which is why I'm confident it will happen, because I absolutely agree with Robert. I totally agree that Ten Hag is the driver of this move. He wants this player, and he's clearly told the club that the player will come. If the player is sat there 2 months later saying, I don't want to come, then you've got to ask Ten Hag and say, why have you told us to go and get this player? You told us he would come, and now he doesn't want to come. So there has to be responsibility on both sides. But that's one of the big reasons why I think De Jong will come, because I think Ten Hag does know that he'll come, if that makes sense. Mark, I'm really frustrated with this De Jong deal. I strongly believe that we are shooting the manager in the foot before he has a chance to start, says Leon. Well, yeah, I do. I agree with you. And look, 80% of you blame the club. And actually, you know what? It's very difficult to put blame on Erik Ten Hag because it's not an isolated incident, is it? We didn't get Timber. We didn't get Darwin Núñez. We still haven't got Lisandro Martinez. We still haven't got Anthony. It's not like De Jong's the only deal that's not happening. Eriksen's still not here. You know, I was listening to Alex Crook actually on TalkSport earlier, and he was saying what we've been saying. He said, I don't understand why a free transfer is taking so long. Like, he's a free transfer. He's been a free transfer for 10 days, Eriksen. His contract with Brentford ended on the 1st of July. 10 days later, we still haven't got a medical or a signing on thing. I mean, I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know what they're waiting for. But yeah, you know, there's obviously a lot of delays going on there with Manchester United at the moment. So look, let's wait and see. I still believe that we'll get Frenkie de Jong. I'm going to dive into that a little bit more at 8 o'clock on TalkSport with Alex Crook because it's his story anyway. We'll dive a little bit more into that. I want to get his thoughts on Ronaldo as well because he's been pretty good this season. So 8 o'clock on TalkSport. I'll give you the link after that. But moving along, if we don't go for De Jong and we go for Ruben Neves, as I've said before, De Jong is on a different level to Ruben Neves and Tielemans. It's worse for us. It's worse for Ten Hag if he doesn't get De Jong. It's as simple as that, whether you want to or not. The next thing I want to talk to you is coming in from, I've got some really interesting quotes coming in from Victor Lindelof around the captaincy. I mean, I must be honest, it made me want to throw up. But, you know, you can make your mind up in a minute. First of all, let's talk about what James Ducker's said. He's on the tour at the moment, James Ducker. As are we. You may have seen our first video. We're on the tour as well. What are the chances... Erik Ten Hag's first press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're going to be there. So make sure you're tuning in for that. And obviously, we've got the first watch-along on Tuesday. So lots happening at the moment. What are the chances that De Jong is publicly saying he wants to stay to put pressure on Barcelona to pay him back his wages? Yes, Carl, exactly. You make a good point. You could be right. You can't have a conversation just for Ten Hag and not club who wants him. That's ridiculous in my opinion, says Nicholas. Mark, did you see my post comment on the members video for Liverpool wages versus ours idea for the show? My dad Ray and I are watching from Canada for 4 years, says Red. I mean, I imagine Liverpool's wages are, a rough prediction, probably half what we pay Liverpool. And yet they're one of the best teams in the world. I wouldn't like to do that video, but I'd guess that we're probably paying double what they pay to their players. Completely off topic, but curious what you would prefer, De Jong and Rice or De Jong and Bellingham or Rice and Bellingham. I think De Jong and Bellingham would be my favourite two out of those two, Sean. I think they'd be a very good midfield two in a Ten Hag system. Lay more blame at Barcelona, to be honest. We played our part also. We must have known about the difficulties going in, says Berkeley. Yeah, well, as I said, Barcelona seems to be holding this window. I'm not blaming him for all deals, just that one, says Robert. There, he's in the chat. I thought he might be. Well, I think he raised a very interesting point. Mark, we've got Dividend Dino, says Andy and Bruno. Thank you. And should get a playmaker and a CDM instead, says Neil Crude. Neves would be a great signing for us and also Premier League proven and a lot more physical than De Jong. Fabian from Napoli could also be an option, says Job. You know, actually, just before I talk about what Ducker says, because it's quite interesting what he's saying about transfers, I think you've always got to be honest. And when I think about Ruben Neves, I actually look at him and I go, well, he's a decent midfielder, but why don't Juventus want him? Why don't Bayern Munich want him? Why don't Man City want him? Why don't Liverpool want him? He's available. Why is there no big... Why is it only us and Arsenal that are being linked with him? Because I think that's the level. I think he's a midfielder that can get you 5th or 4th. I don't think he's a midfielder that's going to come in and be the envy of Europe. Probably the same for Tielemans. They are way better than Fred and McTominay, and to be honest with you, that's slim. You know, there's a lot. We could buy Ward-Prowse, John Joe Shelvey, Romu. They're all better than McTominay and Fred, but Neves is an improvement. But you know, if Neves is, if Fred and McTominay are here, I mean, the bar's not very high. Most people can jump that bar. I mean, there's midfielders at Bournemouth saying they can jump that bar, and they'd be right. But so there's McTominay and Fred, there's Neves, and there's De Jong, and that'll be the disappointment for Ten Hag as well. From the observation, Ajax players are all system players. We have Blind and Donny who are comfortable on playing different positions. Do you think once our players understand core philosophy of Ten Hag, then every player would be multifunctional, says Pratic? Yeah, I don't think certain players on our team can master their own position with that. So I think we'd be running away with ourselves if we start saying they can master loads. Tom, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. How can Erik Ten Hag be at fault? United's transfer policy has been rubbish for years, says Ross. We've opened up a debate here, which is good. Give me Neves and Tielemans and I will be a happy man, says Tom O'Duff. We won't get both, mate. It'll be one or the other. And in the battle of De Jong, Tielemans and Neves, De Jong's on a different planet as far as I'm concerned. And Anderson and Cleverly would be a luxury right now, says Praise. Well, they were both better than McTominay and Fred, without a shadow of a doubt. Anyway, this is what James Ducker had to say from The Telegraph. Again, he's one of these select journalists that have the ear of the club, so I always listen when he talks because he's probably been briefed. John Murtagh, United's football director, was never due to attend the tour as he focuses on the summer transfer window and his tan. No, it doesn't say anything about his tan. And trying to secure deals for Frenkie de Jong, Christian Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez and Antony. But it remains to be seen if United's chief executive Richard Arnold meets up with a travelling party in Melbourne or Perth. The tour is being led from an executive level by Chief Operating Officer Colette Roach. So no Richard Arnold, no John Murtagh. But the interesting line there for me is that James Ducker is not the sort of journalist to pull out random transfer stories for clicks. He would tend to talk in a way that's, you know, got clarity and truth. So when he says that John Murtagh's working back in England, focusing on deals, trying to secure deals for De Jong, Eriksen, Martinez and Antony, of course the positive from that is we know we want De Jong, we know Eriksen's going to come, we know we're trying to get Lisandro Martinez, but Antony in that list as well is a positive. I've always said about Antony that he wants to desperately come to United and Ten Hag desperately wants to sign him. And it was never anything to do with Ronaldo staying or leaving. Welcome to the Members Club, Sean. But if we're dealing with Ajax for Lisandro Martinez, then we can definitely be dealing with Ajax for Antony at the same time. Mark, sadly United are at Neves level like Arsenal. Why can't we get Frenkie de Jong, says Andy and Bruno. And I think Andy nails it there for me because when I came into I remember us having conversations in March. I remember us having conversations in April about what our transfer window should be. And I'm not going to lie, I always said if we've got 150 million quid, I would like to see us buy 3 or 4 players for 40 million rather than buy a marquee signing for 80 and then buy 1 or 2 players. What we've actually done is gone for the marquee signing in De Jong. I would have been happy with Neves back in April. I would have been happy with Tielemans back in April. But that's because that's what I was expecting us to do. It's very difficult to, you know, when you go into a restaurant and you're told that we don't have a lot of money, you can only have something to the value of £5, and you're looking at your spaghetti bolognese, and then suddenly they go, actually, I'm going to order you a steak. And you get all excited about the steak. You're like, I was happy with the spag bowl because you told us that's all we can afford. But now you're avoiding me a steak. Don't worry if you're a vegetarian. You can have a bowl of salad with some Caesar sauce on it, you know, whatever you want. But the reality is, I've been looking forward to that steak. I'm really looking forward to that steak, and that steak's Frenkie de Jong. If the club now go, no, we're not getting you the steak, we're going to go back to the spaghetti bolognese, which I was happy to have in the first place. Well, the spaghetti bolognese is Ruben Neves, and the steak is De Jong. I was happy with the spaghetti bolognese. Then you said you were going to get a steak, and you ordered it, and then you've said I'm not having it. And that's the problem for me. I'm I would have been okay with Ruben Neves. I know this is a rebuild, but now that they've told us about De Jong for the last 2 months, it's the humiliation. It's watching that steak that's been cooked for me go past my table to a knobhead on the next table I don't even like, and they're tucking into it. That's just, and they're going like that, and I'm there with my spag bowl, getting it all around my mouth, looking at Pratt. So I want De Jong, because that's what they've told us we're getting. And I want De Jong because that's what Erik ten Hag wants. Leon says, but I know a lot of you are at that point where you're just like, you're fed up with De Jong, you want the deal to move on. Leon says, I was optimistic about the arrival of Ten Hag, but once again, this club has shown the same incompetence to get deals over the line. More of the same, says Leon. And also from Pratosaurus Rex, only way to attract good players again is good scouting. We already know what Ten Hag thinks of our scouts, says Pratosaurus Rex. And Kay says, based off last season, this is our level. Mark, if Ralph were involved, these were the players we were going for. Neves, to me, will work better than Frenkie de Jong, who doesn't want to come here. We need to move on from marquee signings. K. You are absolutely saying what most of us were saying in April. And I've basically just agreed with you. I was happy to go for that as part of a rebuild. When the Frenkie de Jong thing came along, I didn't really agree with it. But we've been told it for so long that I'm sort of like, you've got to do that now. Of course you've got to do that now, that deal now. You can't just not do it. That's what you told us was going to happen. And yeah. But look, if you'd have said to me in April, and in fact, if I said to you now, would you rather have Neves and Tielemans or Frenkie de Jong? I'd rather have Frenkie de Jong because it's what Ten Hag wants, and I think he's got to be backed. Personally, I know in April I'd have said Tielemans and Neves. I'd rather have Tielemans and Neves now. You know why? Because that means McTominay and Fred are never getting a game. Like, if you buy Tielemans and Neves, that's your midfield too. Fred and McTominay go and sit on the bench, whereas De Jong, one of them might still play. So, yeah, I would go for Neves and Tielemans over De Jong. But the reality is you're not going to get Neves and Tielemans because Leicester are going to want 30 million. Wolves are going to want 70 million. That's, 40, 50 million. They're going to cost you about 80 million combined. That's 25 million more than De Jong's going to cost. So it's not like that. It'll be one or the other. Neves is not as bad as you make. No, Tom. No. Whoa. Let's just right? Tom's come in and said Neves is not as bad as you make out, Mark. I think you know that. Why don't you want to make the Neves versus Frenkie de Jong video? Van de Jong has been average in La Liga. I've never said that that Ruben Neves is a bad player. In fact, I've spoken quite openly about Ruben Neves on this show before, and I do rate Ruben Neves, but he ain't as good as Frenkie de Jong. And also, I'm not convinced that Ruben Neves is better than fourth place. I mean, he's way better than McTominay and Fred, but I'm not convinced he's a player that's going to take us to Champions Leagues and league titles. But on phase one, we're probably not going to do that anyway. So I'd take Ruben Neves tomorrow, but I'd just rather have Frenkie de Jong. The problem is getting Neves and Tielemans now is that they will now overspend for those players. Like, Stephen, what was going to be my next point? If we move on from Frenkie de Jong, and I said this last night to you, didn't I? If we move on from Frenkie de Jong, they'll see us coming a mile off. Wolves haven't had their head buried in the sand going, we'll wake up in mid-July. Hello, Man United, you can have Neves for 40 million. They know what we've just done with Frenkie de Jong. The price will go up. Ajax have whacked the price up for Anthony and Lissandro Martinez because we're coming at them late. If we go for Leicester, God no. Leicester will probably get 100 million for Tielemans. He's only got a year left on his contract. They'll be laughing as we come down to the Midlands. Here they come. Remember what we did with Maguire? Same again. They'll fall for it. So yeah, if we did go for Tielemans now, or we did go for Neves, we'd have to pay more than we would have done a month ago. So, I mean, look, we've got to get De Jong done now because it's a massive embarrassment and a failure, and it will cost us to go for a backup anyway. Mark, I suspect we used part of this summer's budget to get Ronaldo last year. No signings, can't work on other deals, says Matthew. Well, we'll find out about the fee, won't we? Mark, your honest opinion on Frenkie de Jong, what will happen, says Ram. Ooh, he's put me on the spot. Let's move on to the next topic. Anyway, let's talk about what Lindelof had to say. No, you know me, I won't duck a question. Right, what my honest opinion of what's going to happen with Frenkie de Jong is that he's got all the power at the moment because Barcelona can't sell him while they owe him money. United are desperate to get him, but he probably doesn't really want to come. Ten Hag feels he's got a relationship with him that we don't really know how deep that relationship is in relation to what's been said. My opinion is that Ten Hag and Frenkie de Jong have had lots of conversations, and that Frenkie de Jong has told Ten Hag he'll come to United, because it's the only thing that makes sense. Therefore, my opinion is that we will find a solution and we will sign him. He's back in training tomorrow. He's back in training with Barcelona tomorrow. That doesn't mean it's the end. I think Varane went back in training with Real Madrid. I mean, this is very reminiscent of the Varane deal last year. I mean, it's very reminiscent of a lot of deals that didn't happen as well. But it is very reminiscent of Varane. We knew, I mean, God, I mean, it's just, you know, it's every summer. Varane was a deal that we knew about during the Euros, wasn't it? We knew we were in for Varane. And it was like, let's get Varane before he comes back from his Euros break. And we didn't. He was back training in Madrid. And it was like, oh, we don't want him back in training Madrid because Ancelotti's the new manager and he'll convince him to stay. And we still got the deal done. So I don't think Frenkie de Jong being in training tomorrow helps, but I don't think that's the end of the deal. I'm probably in the minority now. I still think we're going to get this deal. But the reason I think we're going to get this deal, because I'm putting all my faith in Ten Hag. I cannot believe that Ten Hag has allowed United to spend this long on de Jong without knowing that de Jong will come, even though everything else at the moment is suggesting that he doesn't want to come. Brandon says, in your analogy, we've ordered a medium rare steak and it's been sent out well done 3 times and chef is telling us to be patient and trust the process. Time to change the order, says Brandon. I like it. And Baz says, hi Mark, can you shout out my local club, 1 Knoxville SC, for winning their division in their inaugural season in the USL. Cheers. Shout out to them. Thanks from Baz. Shadad, thanks for joining the members club. Have we considered paying the owed fees and taking it off the overall price, says Harry? Yes. So basically, before I move on, we've agreed a deal of 65 million euros plus add-ons up to 85 million euros for Frenkie de Jong. And this was agreed nearly 2 weeks ago. We have said to Barcelona, we will give you 45 million euros and pay what's owed to Frenkie de Jong in wages, and Barcelona have said no, we want 56 million pounds for Frenkie de Jong. His wages we don't want to pay. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Welcome to the Members Club, Christopher Smith. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club, which is a good lead in to what I want to talk about next. So you may well have seen this already, but it's well worth putting up. Lindelof talking about Lisandro Martinez coming in, also spoke about the captaincy and Erik ten Hag. We'll start off that in a minute. But if you are a member, don't forget, or do remember, if you are a member, to check out our latest members video comparing Harry Maguire, Lindelof, Varane to Lisandro Martinez and their stats last year. Really interesting watch on why Lisandro Martinez is so different to all of those players and would be a welcome addition. Check it out. We've also got our Fantasy Premier League that you can enter through our members club as well. We've got a welcome video on that for you. So thank you very much for supporting the channel if you are a member. Right, let's have a look what Lindelof has said on the tour. He said, this is about signings. I'm not a nervous person when it comes to new signings. I'm quite calm. I know what I can do on the pitch. I've been working very hard and that's all I can focus on really. I like Lindelof. I think he gets a bit of a bad press. I don't know about you, but I think Lindelof is one of those players that you either think he's crap or you think he's average or you think he's good. I would probably put him somewhere between average and good. I don't dislike Lindelof. I think he's a utility centre-back. I think at times last year our best centre-back partnership was Lindelof and Varane. But then at times last year, Lindelof was bloody dreadful at the end of the season. So, look, I think Lindelof had his chance last year and probably blew it a little bit. But I like Lindelof. I like him to be a squad member, but I don't think you'll ever win anything major with Lindelof as a centre-back. But I think as a third or fourth centre-back, he's decent. He spoke about Ten Hag. He says it's been absolutely fantastic. Absolutely incredible. I'm so happy with Erik ten Hag. Could it be magic? It's Victor Lindelof does take that. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, Lindelof, I had to do that. When I read it earlier, I thought I'm going to definitely do that. These are his words. Victor Lindelof on Erik ten Hag. It's been absolutely fantastic. The new boss, since he came, he's been explaining very good and doing his practices well. The level of the training has really stepped up. Well, you know, again, that's another cheap shot at Ranić, isn't it? But realistically, I don't take it as a cheap shot at Ranić. I take it as a cheap shot at Ollie, whose coaching was diabolical. So, look, I mean, more good feedback for Ten Hag and his training. But I suppose at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, if you were going to interview every Manchester United player right now, the cynic in me, welcome to the Members Club, Abhishek and Jake and Murad, welcome. And also welcome to Bass, who we've done before as well, and Christopher Smith. If you interviewed any Man United player now, Scott McTominay, what do you think about Eric Ten Hag? Oh, Scooby Doo, he's great. I've had a couple of pints of iron brew with him. A cracking guy. He wants to build the team around me. Then you got Fred, yeah, brilliant guy. I can't do Brazilian. Scott McTominay doesn't speak Scottish, by the way. It's just a bit of banter. He is Scottish, but he doesn't speak Scottish. You are not going to get a line of Man United players being asked about Ten Hag, and then, you know, Rashford walks in and goes, crap. Absolutely crap. He's got us doing all these passing drills. He's not let me shoot from 30 to 40 yard once. He won't let me take anybody on. He's telling me to pass and move. He's rubbish. He's worse than Ollie. Like, no Man United player is going to sit down and go, you know what, I preferred Ranić. Like, they're all going to be positive because they're all playing for their future. But I do agree with them, though. I mean, look, there is a step up in the coaching because that's what we've done. We've brought a coach in. Where do we watch you on TalkSport, Mark, says Ivan. I'll drop you the link before we leave. I've got to go and set up in about 10 minutes, but we've still got 10 more minutes. Mark, what will be our centre-back pairing for the start of the season? Will Lindelof start before Maguire, says Ram. Well, look, let's have a look. I mean, look, the big line from Lindelof, to be honest, I've been working up to it. Victor Lindelof on the captaincy. Harry Maguire is a great player and a great captain as well. He's a very nice guy off the pitch. He tries to talk a lot and communicate with the players, and I think he is a great player. I mean, look, how much did he pay you, Victor? But no, on a serious note, that's up to Lindelof. If he thinks that, that's absolutely fine. And again, he'll get pelters for it, but what is he supposed to say? He's sat down in an interview, he's asked about the captaincy and Harry Maguire. What is he? He's not going to tell the truth, is he? He's not going to say he's the worst captain Man United have had in 10 years. He's slow. He doesn't. There's question marks about whether he's even good enough to play at this level. I can't believe I got dropped for him. I should be playing with Varane. You know, my dog had captained the team better than him. He's not going to come out with stuff like that, is he? Because he'd get pelters for doing that. Of course he's going to say he's a great player and a great captain. But, again, I mean, you should have the same. I mean, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, aren't they? But I did say this last night. I don't take a lot of notice of what's said on the tour. What is the tour? What is the tour? It's a PR exercise to promote your brand. And it was a PR exercise when we were going to South Africa 20 years ago. It's a PR exercise when we're going to America. It's that's what it is. It's not to be taken seriously. Like, it's completely about selling shirts, thanking the fans that come and see you. It's just 100% PR and positivity. I've got no problem with Victor Lindelof saying that. If we were down the pub and he said that to me, I'd say, Victor, you're talking out your arse, mate. He's not a great player and he's not a great captain, and you know why? Look at last season. If he was just a centre-back like you, then it's a different story. But if you captained that last year, you're a bad captain. Because your job as a captain is to rally the troops, organise the troops, respond to bad results. We got smacked up all season. We did not discriminate. Whether it was October, September, May, April, we got smacked up. And he was the captain. So how can he be a good captain when he's captained that? He's not a good captain. He might be a good centre-back, he might be a good player, but he's not a good captain. And Victor, you're talking out of your arse. And, you'd spoken well about competition, you'd spoken well about the manager, but with that statement, you've made yourself look a liar. But at least it shows camaraderie. And it doesn't really bother me because, again, if you sat down... I mean, I think if Ronaldo was on the tour and he was asked about Maguire, he'd say, what a great guy and great captain, because it's all part of the game. I would not get worried about it at all. I just would not get worried about it at all. Vivek, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. Daniel's thinking about going to the Chippy. There we go. And back the captain, says Somali. I'm not backing Maguire as captain, because otherwise, what's the point? What's the point in being a football fan if you're not going to back your own opinion? I don't care whether he's the captain next year. I think he will be the captain next year. I hope he does a good job. and I hope he has a good season, but I don't believe he should be the captain, because I believe I've seen people like Roy Keane and Gary Neville and Nemanja Vidic and Eric Cantona as Manchester United captains, and if they'd had a season like last year, they'd have handed it in, because that's what being a Man United leader is. If you can't do it, you give it to somebody else. Him wanting to stay captain is about him, and that's not right. Gary Neville played a game of football and basically at half-time wanted to be subbed off and retire because he couldn't do justice to the shirt. Maguire should be handing that captaincy over. It shouldn't even be a decision, but he won't, because he wants to be the captain. It's an ego thing. If he was really interested in Manchester United, he would hand in the captaincy and focus on his own game. I wanted Rooney to hand in the captaincy. I think when Wayne Rooney took the captaincy, he lost the edge. Rooney was, that's that famous 50-50, isn't there, with Rooney, where the ball goes up and he basically 2 foots the air. Like, Rooney was aggressive on the edge. As soon as he got the captaincy, you saw that aggression go, because he was the United captain and he wanted to be a responsible captain, and he lost the fire, really. And I was like, I don't like Rooney as a captain, because I like Rooney with the fire. And, I think Maguire needs to focus on his game. I think the captaincy needs to be handed over, but I don't think it will do, because I can't see anybody that's going to take it, if I'm absolutely honest. But I hope somebody does, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, I suppose. Are you still 90% sure on Frenkie de Jong, or is that lessened, says Sam? No. I think with any transfer, you have to go through difficult times. You've got to, technically I'm still 80% we're going to get Timber, because no one's ever picked up on it. I'm not 80% we're going to get Timber, by the way. I'm like no percent that we're going to get Timber. That's gone completely. So I can not be stubborn. I can knock them down. But with Frenkie de Jong, the reason I'm staying so confident is I just absolutely have faith that Erik ten Hag has spoken to the player on the regular, and there is a belief and an agreement that he will come. Mark, last few weeks have been very low for us as United fans, but I hope you're taking good care of yourself generally. We love watching you every day. I'm fine, Doel. I'm absolutely fine. I hope you're all fine as well. Still got that word hope, haven't we? Louis Rojo. In fact, I'm talking about that on TalkSport at 8 o'clock. I'm live to the nation on TalkSport with the Transfer Hub. We will be talking about United a lot at the start, because I've got Alex Crook on. I want to talk about De Jong and Ronaldo. But also, we're going to be taking some calls. We're also going to be linking in with the chat around the transfer window in general and who the winners and losers are with 4 weeks to go. And can somebody come off the rails late on and rescue their transfer window, which is what we're hoping for with Manchester United. Louis Rojo has just said a meeting is scheduled between Barca and Frenkie de Jong. If he lowers his wages, he stays. If not, he moves on. He's quite pissed, apparently, says Sakin. I'll have a look at that. If 60 million... 5 million can't lure a world-class Ballon d'Or shortlisted wonder kid from Barcelona, how can Leicester ask for more for trending Chelsea rejects, says Josh. A captain is someone who rallies the players during hard times, not tolerating leaks, putting players in line when acting out. Pratt, Maguire. Well, Jorge, I don't really want to go over old ground, but Lindelof can say Harry Maguire's a great captain. Exactly. It's not just the performances on the pitch and the inability to lead on the pitch. His dressing room was leaking like a bloody hedgehog's lilo. That's not good captaincy. De Jong will have a meeting with Barca soon and it will be resolved by the end of the week, says John. Sorry for off topic, but please can you bring back your F1 stream, says Alex. To be honest with you, Alex, I'm enjoying just sitting watching the F1 without doing a watch along, if I'm honest, so I doubt I'll bring them back. Hope we get transfer ban for offshore payments to Ronaldo's agent. Hopefully forces United to splash the cash this season. Is it us who's meant to be getting that, Mandor? I'd read last night that there was a rumour going round that Manchester United, not Manchester United, that there was a club out there that that might look at that might be in trouble, but I don't know. So this is coming in from Barca Universal. Frenkie de Jong did not like that the negotiations between Barcelona and Manchester United were leaked, nor that his salary was leaked too. Frenkie and his entourage even believe that the club are waging a campaign against the player. Yeah, well, he's right there. He's categorically right there. I don't care what anybody says. Barcelona want to sell him, and they want to sell him as the villain. Because Barcelona have probably made a bit of a mistake here, in the sense that they've got rid of, they want to sell Frenkie de Jong, but they also want it to be Frenkie de Jong's fault that he's leaving, and I think that's a little bit unfair, if I'm honest with you. But what can I say about that? What can I say about that? Just going back to this meeting that's potentially going to happen. Let me just check my phone, actually. I've been very naughty tonight. I should have had my phone ready because I sometimes get messages. And I have had a message about transfers sometimes. 82% of you blame the club and not Ten Hag for Frenkie de Jong's deal. Let me just get this up as well. But yes, I was just reading there what somebody had mentioned, that Frenkie de Jong is going to have a meeting with Barcelona this week to decide what his future is going to be. And obviously we will see what happens with that. I mean, I'm not putting any time limits on it. You know, what's the point? I'm not putting time limits on any signing. You know, I think United could take forever. They really could. Been on the sunbed, Mark. It's been and still is absolutely scorchio in the UK at the moment. So I'm quite happy that I didn't burn. You know, I have to be careful of my complexion. Always wear sun cream. Are we sponsored by sun cream? No. Yeah, I'd happily do that. Always wear sun cream because I've got a scar on my arm up here where I had a mole taken off, and it was cancerous about 15 years ago. So always wear sun cream. Didn't really exist when I was a kid, I don't think, or I just didn't have it put on. Child abuse. Pratic, I'm joking. Pratic from the observation. I hated it. Horrible sticky stuff. Sun cream, nothing else, all over your back. From Pratic, from the observation, Ajax players are all system players. We've done that. Would you prefer us only getting De Jong but partnering him with Scooby or Fred, or would you prefer getting both Tielemans and Neves? I've spoken about that, Andrew Davis. I would prefer to get two players because then we wouldn't have to play McTominay or Fred. Gerald, welcome to the United Stand Members Club as well. Thank you very much for joining. I did go to my phone to just check something, and here it is. So, De Jong meeting scheduled. The player is pissed off at the club's management regarding his case. The club will offer him a drop in salary, and if not, to leave. Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to... I mean, that's not going to solve anything, is it? That isn't going to solve anything because it's not just a drop in salary. He's owed about 15 million euros, isn't he, as well? So, it's not just going to be a drop in salary here. He's got to take a drop in salary, and he's then got to take... another, he's owed 15 million euros as far as I'm concerned. Not me personally. Barcelona, I'm going to send the lads round. I'm going to send old Beth and Adam round. You owe 15 million euros. Interest rate on that, tomorrow it's going to be 20 and 30 and 40. And then next week, you might find out that your wheels are gone. And I've replaced it with something else. I'm not a very good gangster. Brocolona says Dark. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But look, I would love to say to you, this is a big week ahead for Manchester United. I would love to say that this time next week, we'll have Lisandro Martinez, De Jong, Eriksen, and they'll all be heading out to the tour, and Ronaldo will be happy as well. The reality is, I would like that to happen. It could happen. I wouldn't bet it will happen. And also, we could all be sat here next Sunday still not knowing what Ronaldo's future is, still not having signed De Jong or Lisandro Martinez or Eriksen or anybody else. Right here, right now, nobody, and I'm going to talk about this on TalkSport at 8 o'clock because I think it's a good topic to bring in. Nobody knows what's going on at Manchester United, and that's not journalists and me and you, that's Manchester United. They are rudderless and out of control, and that is the general perception. Anyway, I must go because I've got to prep for 8 o'clock. What I have done is I've dropped the link in the chat and the live chat's already open for you. TalkSport Transfer Hub. We're live on TalkSport Radio, so you can just drive around in your car and listen if you want to. Or you can do the traditional thing you've just done and put it on YouTube. I'll be live at 8 o'clock on there. National Transfer Hub with Goldbridge. We've got got Alex Crook, who's spoken about this Neves and Tielemans thing, so we'll dive straight into that, and Ronaldo as well. Also, what's going on with the United transfer business. We'll be taking some calls as well. You could be on the radio. Get involved. I'll also be in the chat looking out for some of you as well. So if I recognise you, I'll read you out as well. We should hire Sean Dyche as chief negotiator, says Nida. Thank you very much. And also, that's from Nida as well. That was a super chat. Thank you very much for that. Sean Dyche over to Barca. I'm telling you now, I've had enough. I've been sacked by Burnley. I lost my wood at Christmas. I got sacked by Burnley, and now you're messing around with De Jong. Do you want to see mad, Dyche? I'll bloody take you up on a bloody hill, and I'll tombstone you off it. You bloody twats. Now give us De Jong, and I'll have a bowl of paella to go with my gravel. See you later. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you on TalkSport very soon. And looking forward to the show tonight. Thank you very much. Speak to you in a bit. Links in the chat. Get over there. See you in a mo.